We're now officially under 7 days till training camp gets underway. 7 days. Well, less than 7 days. Next Tuesday. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. So I figured we're going to start looking at some of the battles that'll be going on in camp this year for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are a Super Bowl contender again, as always, but there are a few intriguing battles that I want to take a look at, that I want to discuss with you. We're going to talk about them today. Maybe we'll dabble in a little Aaron Nola and his pitching performance last night against Milwaukee. Talk a little Phillies there as well. Anything else you want to talk about? We'll talk about it. Trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network starts in 30 seconds. Fourth and goal. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe. Turn the notifications on. Tell a friend. Go shout at your neighbor in his driveway when he's getting into his car. Tell everybody. Trending in the AM. It's the #1 morning show in Philadelphia. It's the only show where your opinions actually matter. I just actually saw something a few minutes ago on Facebook, one of the super fan groups that you're only a real fan if you're a part of this group, about complaining about the dial and how bad the dial is, and the conversation on the two main sports talk shows in the morning are in Philadelphia. Well, you don't got to worry about that. You could tune in here every single day. We're not live at 8:30 every day. We're live at 8:10, 8:15 every day now. Hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes every single day. We've bumped this up to. And it's all about you guys. I present the topics. Today's topics. We're going to start talking some Eagles training camp battles. I've got a few. If you've got another one, we'll talk about it. We'll see what we got. Maybe we'll talk a little Aaron Nola. He pitched pretty damn well last night. It was a very good sign. I got a fun little poll question. I kind of tweaked it here. But it was a poll question, and the WSOP wasn't in it originally. What would you rather do? We'll talk that. We've got lots on the agenda. But we're going to get into it. As Mad Chatter says, let's go. Make sure we're hitting the like button, Facebook and YouTube. Make sure we're hitting the share button on all these sites. Please, the more people that like the videos, the more people that share it out, the more people that tune in, the better the conversation gets. The more opinions we get in the show, the less we have to hear Mad Chatter talk about Eli Manning being better than Peyton Manning. Sorry. I'm gonna dig that in until I forget about it. We're going to remind that until we forget about it. All right. So let's start talking Eagles training camp. I mean, we are literally 6 days away till the season starts, which is fantastic. That's what we want. On a side note, real quick, I forgot to say it. There's quite a few people watching on Twitter right now. If you want to get interactive on Twitter, you got to head over to Facebook or YouTube for the Philadelphia Sports Network to actually see and comment on the show. Wimbledon easy. Oh, you want to answer that question. What would you rather? Wimbledon center court, WrestleMania front row? It's in Philly this year, or this upcoming year. The World Series of Poker. I added that in. I also had Masters ground passes on the original poll. What would you rather? Man, I watched Sunday's finals at Wimbledon, Ryan. I mean, Djokovic versus, what was his name? Alcaraz, whatever his name is. Man, that was intense. As a former super tennis fan and played a little tennis growing up, I mean, it was an intense finals there at center court. It would be a dream come true. Eagles don't pay linebackers. You mean edge rushers? Yes, there is something to discuss there. With the Eagles and the linebackers. Where does Nolan Smith actually fit in? I've got another poll for tomorrow. About people that were excited to watch in training camp, and I think it's hard. There's a lot of people excited about Nolan Smith, and I am too. I'm extremely excited for Nolan Smith. But where does he fit in on this roster? Like, I can't believe we got Nolan Smith at pick 30 in the first round. Like, he was a guy that could have gone in the top 10. But where does he fit in? I mean, you've got Josh Sweat. You've got Brandon Graham. You still got Derek Barnett. You've got Hassan Reddick. You got Nolan Smith. You got a lot of guys that go after the quarterback. right now, Nolan Smith's like the fourth or fifth guy in that rotation. You know, the one guy comment on my thing, I'll bring this back up tomorrow, and that's the conversation, that Nolan Smith might win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I just don't know if Nolan Smith gets enough snaps. We saw how easy they took it with Jordan Davis to an extent last year. I mean, some of it was injury related, obviously his endurance, but we also saw how easy and slow they took it with Nakobe Dean. And Nakobe Dean had TJ Edwards and Kazir White ahead of him. So they had the two people ahead of him. They let Nakobe Dean ease himself into the rotation very sporadically. I could see the Eagles taking that wait and see approach with Nolan Smith. I don't see Nolan Smith getting on the field enough to have that big of an impact, at least early in the season. An Eagles D-line rookie will never win. Exactly. I mean, you might make an argument for Jalen Carter, because he is going to be the number one guy that fills in for Javon Hargrave right now. If you had to write it right now, you know, I want it to be Milton Williams, but it's probably going to be Jalen Carter. And someone's going to have to make up those numbers that you lost with Javon Hargrave going to San Fran. So you might make a case for Jalen Carter being that first person. But you're right. You know, they really ease these rookies in on the defense. It's because of the rotation and the fact that, you know, they still have so many veteran players playing at a high level on the defensive front. I mean, you think of Fletcher Cox still, he's not playing like the Fletcher Cox of 2016 or 2017 anymore, but he's still playing at a high level. You still got Milton Williams. You still got Jordan Davis. You still got Brandon Graham, all these guys on the defensive front. And I don't, there's no line, there's no edge rushers, there's no tackles, ends. It's just one big unit. And you've got 9 or 10 guys that are all going to play a part of that rotation. I know Hassan could be an above average linebacker. Well, he is the most underrated. And again, you know, talked about underrated last week. And everyone's like, well, how is he underrated? Because Hassan Reddick is a top 3 edge rusher in football, and he gets top 5, top 6 credit. But you look at some of the stats of Joey Bosa and J.J. Watt and Micah Parsons and all the guys considered better than Hassan Reddick. And Hassan Reddick's numbers are better. More sacks most of the time, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, tackles for loss, drops back in coverage. He does it all. Hassan Reddick, in my mind, is one of the 2 or 3 best defensive front 7 players in the entire NFL, and he doesn't get that credit. They do like they ease rookies in across the board. It's definitely, you know, one of my favorite camp battles to discuss. It's not a sexy conversation, but the offensive line. And you lose Isaac Seumalo, one of the better. Sorry, I won't say best. I won't say one of the best to appease certain people. One of the better right guards in football. We lost him. And there's a big hole there. And you got Cam Jurgens versus Tyler Steen prying for that spot. Cam Jurgens was drafted 2 years ago to be the heir apparent to Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce is back. So what do you do with Cam Jurgens? They're talking about playing him at right guard. You draft Tyler Steen, a right tackle that's probably more suited to play right guard in the NFL. He's a rookie. He can play that position. Now, I've got the polls up here. This is one of the polls. Between all my camp battle polls on Twitter, got about 1,000 votes. And right now, who will start at right guard week 1 was one of them. Cam Jurgens is winning that poll 74% to 25%. And there's 0.5% that voted for other, but no one commented who the other would be. Do you want to see Cam Jurgens start at right guard? He's going to probably be. If you ask me right now, I think the Eagles think it's Cam Jurgens right now. But there's some interesting things. Yeah, look, Ryan, I agree. It's not a sexy conversation. But I love offensive line talk. I love defensive line. Like, I love trench. I call it trench warfare. Offensive and defensive, I just love it. Maybe it's because I've gotten to interview so many former NFL linemen on this show and previous shows I've worked on in the past. And I just love listening to them talk football. But Cam Jurgens is supposed to be that heir apparent. You don't know what's going to happen with Jason Kelce this year, next year, whenever. He's learning that center position and learning a position he's never played before, right guard. Talk about Jason Kelsey for a second before you make your decision about right guard. How much does Jason Kelsey actually practice? He's one of those veteran guys that during the season might practice once a week. During training camp, 3 or 4 times a week, he's going to get the day off because you're protecting and preserving his body. He doesn't need to learn how to work that center position. He's already one of the best of all time. So all those days that he's not practicing as the starting center with the ones, who is? Cam Jurgens. Well, while Cam Jurgens is practicing with the ones as the center, he's not getting the experience at right guard. But if you take him out of that center position and put him at right guard in practice, and then something happens to Jason Kelsey and he goes down, you don't have your heir apparent ready. So the Jason Kelsey practice aspect of it, I think, needs to be playing into people's decisions as well. I know Cam Jurgens is leading the way to get that starting right guard spot, but I don't think it's necessary. You could put Tyler Steen as a rookie right there at right guard right now. He can play close to equal to Isaac Seumalo. You got Lane Johnson on his right, Jason Kelsey on his left, coaching him up in game and protecting and making up for any of his youthful, indecisive moments. I am all on board on Tyler Steen. I'm also on board the other. Only 0.5% of the couple hundred votes voted for other. I still think there's a chance that they bring in another depth piece on the offensive line. There are some guards out there, free agent. I forget the names right now. Maybe they bring somebody else in. There is a chance. I doubt it, but a small little 1 or 2% chance. Trench warfare, man. It's like one of my favorite terms to use. I don't even know where I heard that for the first time when I'm talking football. I just love the offensive and defensive linemen don't get the credit for the impact they put on a football game and a team. I mean, Jalen Hurts, amazing season last year, and he's a great quarterback, but that offensive line made up for it. Last year, James Bradbury, Darius Slay had the great season, got known as one of the best cornerback duos in football because the defensive front got 70 sacks last year. I mean, it goes all hand in hand. You have to have a complete team to be as dominant as the Eagles were last year. And I think it's great. But on the Tyler Steen and Cam Jurgens is probably leading the clubhouse right now, 6 days before camp starts. But I think Tyler Steen, the days Cam Jurgens is practicing at center, when Jason Kelsey is just chilling on the sideline, Tyler Steen at right guard, those days, he could pretty quickly start winning over the confidence of Jeff Stoutland, of Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, Lane Johnson, and Jason Kelsey probably have some input in this as well. They're not going to be the final decision makers, but I wouldn't doubt the fact that Stoutland, Johnson, and Sirianni at least ask Kelsey and Lane Johnson their opinion. Not who do you prefer, but hey, we're thinking of doing this or that. How do you guys feel? What would you feel more comfortable with? You don't get to say, but we want to know. I think it's a really, really interesting battle, and I think that Tyler Steen, over the first couple of weeks of practices, could do a lot to ease their, like, if they really want to keep Cam Jurgens. The thing is also, Howie Roseman has grown as a GM so much. Help me out. Late July, and they haven't even started camp. Preseason games or two. Did they eliminate off-season workouts? Who? The Eagles? I mean, teams are just changing. The last CBA, they made a lot of changes, limiting how many workouts in the offseason. And the Eagles actually last year, between off-season workouts and training camp workouts, had the least amount of workouts. And more classroom work, more gym work and stuff like that. And that's why the Eagles possibly stayed so healthy. Less physical contact in camp. Physical contact isn't hitting to protect. Once you're in the pros, you know how to tackle for the most part. You know what I mean? So you don't need as much, take as much risk. If Stoutland could turn a rugby player into one of the best tackles, there's a fly flying around here. one of the best tackles in the game. Yeah, I don't have a worry on which one it is, Marshawn, but it is intriguing to see where they make their decision. I really, truly think it's Cam Jurgens right now, not because it's the right move, because Howie Roseman, he has grown leaps and bounds, Howie Roseman. Leaps and bounds as a general manager. 3 years ago, I was like, get this guy out of this city. I was saying about him when I say about Daryl Morey, you found this city. But he has grown massively. The one thing I still want to see him fix, so like it's different, but it's the same. Like he doesn't like to admit his draft mistakes. Like he held on to Jalen Reagor, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, still holding on to Kayvon Wallace and Davian Taylor too long. Now, it's not like holding on too long to Cam Jurgens, but he probably feels the need to justify Cam Jurgens in the second round 2 years ago without playing him for 2 years. Like, you don't draft a guy as highly touted as Cam Jurgens and not play him, and as highly in the draft and not give him a chance to play. Now, I think Howie Roseman would be smart by saying, well, let's just keep him there. He's the future, not the now. Don't worry about justifying that pick. Let's do the smarter big picture pick, and I think that's Tyler Steen. Yeah, there are a lot of cuts in the NFL, period. The roster is not complete until you wait to see. I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson led the NFL in interceptions last year for the Eagles, missing 6 games. He wasn't picked up till August 20th. So there's a lot going on. Do you think Morey has that Roseman turnaround in him? Oh, I'm going to say no. And not because, I'm feeling negative, but this isn't Daryl Morey's first rodeo. Daryl Morey's already done this in Houston for how long? And then now here in Philly for a few years. He could have learned from his Houston mistakes. He didn't. Howie Roseman learned from his mistakes pre-Chip Kelly. And post-Chip Kelly, he's worked on over the last 5 years learning from his mistakes. I also feel that Howie Roseman, because he won that Super Bowl in 2017, has been given enough of a grace period. Daryl Morey's never won a championship. Daryl Morey's never gotten a team to the finals. Daryl Morey is a cross between, I'm trying to think of the two most stuck-up guys. Yeah, he's a cross between Dave Dombrowski, the Phillies, who's won titles, who just trades everybody to get stars in here. I'm trying to think of who the most stubborn person, in the NFL is, and maybe Andy Reid or Chip Kelly or something like that. I don't know. I don't see Daryl Morey making the Howie Roseman turnaround. All teams don't get much off-season time before they're ready. You just don't do it. You don't risk the player's health anymore. Make sure we're liking this video. A lot of people tune in, new people and whatnot. 6 likes on YouTube, 2 on Facebook right now. Let's make sure we pound those like buttons and share buttons. Morey's running the Sixers in the ground, and we're getting older every year. Of course Morey is. I was trying not to bring Morey into the conversation today. I was trying to get off the damn depressing Sixers for one day. But thank you, John, for ruining my morning. I'm trying to be pumped for Eagles and training camp 6 days away. And somehow Marshawn brings in Daryl Morey and John Daryl Morey, and now I'm back to being depressed. After watching more videos, Scott and Gainwell produce your running back probably better than first thought. The running back is going to be a conversation we're going to get into here in a second. Let me just roll through some of these comments. It honestly feels like Morey doesn't have a plan every offseason. Roseman had to make tough decisions and with limited resources. Exactly. Like the Sixers have limited resources. Almost none. Well, Howie Roseman built a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender 2 years ago with one player taking up $40 million, $50 million in dead cap space. When they cut Carson Wentz or traded him away, we had $50 million in dead cap space. It was like 25% of our cap wasn't usable, and he still built a playoff roster. Daryl Morey doesn't have cap money. He's got aging players. He's got 5 centers on his roster. But we'll see. Did I bring up Morey first? Oops. It must be just back there. I don't know. Let's have at it. Yeah, no. Let's stick to football. Mad Chatter brought up the Eagles, Gainwell and Scott. Mad Chatter loves this show so much that he is actually a Buffalo fan watching Eagles film. so he could be into this show. And I have a running back poll question. Okay, let me pull it up here. The Ultimate Eagles Training Camp poll, question number 4. Who will be the final Eagle cut from the roster week prior to week 1? Now, cut means they can make it on the practice squad, whatnot. A couple hundred votes on this poll. Penny, Scott, or Sermon. Boston Scott got 10% of the vote. Trey Sermon dominated. He got 73% of the vote. 11% went to Penny. And 6% vote for other. I mean, it must mean they think Swift's getting cut. I don't know. Swift or Gainwell, I doubt either of those guys get cut. But that brings it up to the conversation here. Who is going to be the final guy? Most times the Eagles either carry 3 or 4 running backs out of camp. Nowadays, you can go watch the games from last year right on YouTube. Absolutely. I mean, they make it so easy. Maybe Trez can I don't know if Trez more of maybe a safety, maybe. Sorry, and yes, it's true. I love that you're getting in on this Eagles team. I'm gonna have you buying Eagles gear by the end of the year. I'll get back to Howie. I'm with you. I wanted to run Howie out of town 4 years ago, but has there ever been a turnaround from a coach or a GM in Philly like Howie Roseman? Man, that guy has turned it around. I have like 5 teams I really like. Eagles are my NFC. Well, that's good. So who is the final Eagles running back to get cut? Now, Trey Sermon dominated this poll. 73% of the votes went to him. Now, I don't know if I agree with it as much. And there's a lot of factors. First off, they've talked highly about Trey Sermon since the end of last season. I don't think Trey Sermon sneaks onto the practice squad again. All the hype they've done all offseason on Trey Sermon, some team might take a swing if he gets cut to give him a roster spot instead of a practice squad spot. Rashad Penny, we know his injury issues. We know how prone he is not to play all 17 games, even 15 games, or even 12 games. What's the average? 8.3 games a season? We know that. And then you got Boston Scott, who's just the giant killer. Congratulations, just got engaged this past weekend. All the Eagles are getting engaged and married, man. You know, all the women are like, yo, we got to get these guys locked up before they become Super Bowl champions. I mean, hell, half the Eagles' offensive line got married, had kids, everybody. I think this running back battle is interesting because DeAndre Swift is going to be the guy. He is going to be the guy. Number 1, Kenneth Gainwell will be that second back on the field. He might challenge Swift for almost equal number of snaps on the field. Not touches, but snaps on the field. I know they love Gainwell. I still think there's a slight chance that through the first 3 or 4 weeks that Kenneth Gainwell, leads the team in snap percentage in the running back position. So I think Swift and Gainwell are 100% locks to make this team. Now, over the last 5 years, and I'm going to do the research later today if I have time, if not at some point in the next couple days, I did it before, but I want to update it. The average amount of players they keep at each position on the initial 53-man roster. And it's been 3 a couple times. It's been 4 a couple times at running back. So if it's 4, one guy's out. Now, what good does Boston Scott do? He can play kick returner. He's not a great kick returner. He's an okay kick returner. He doesn't do anything special back there. He only plays well against the Giants, which is 2 times a year. Not going to be 3 times because they're going to miss the playoffs this year, the Giants. And is he worth as the 4th guy? Penny, like I said, often injured. His contract is so lowly guaranteed that you can get off from him really easily. And then you got Trey Sermon, who's cheap. And we already talked about the cheap contracts from running backs over and all this controversy that's going on about these guys. I think if I had to put it, it's going to be Penny gets cut. If not Penny, it is Trey Sermon. If not Trey Sermon, Boston Scott. But also, don't rule out, them having to cut 2 of them. And if that's the case, it's Sermon and Penny. Don't be surprised if they do that. And if that's the case, you might see Boston Scott or Trey Sermon make it onto the practice squad. Look, the Eagles, first and foremost, are linked right now. Again, I'm a Tyree Jackson fan. We'll get to tight ends in a minute. That was another poll I put out there. The Eagles are being linked to Josh Jacobs now. I saw a report this morning or late last night. Look, Howie Roseman isn't going to make a big, bold trade for a running back at this point. He's not going to pay $10, $12 million to a running back. Now, Josh Jacobs is a great running back. Saquon Barkley, a great running back. Running backs are extremely underpaid and undervalued in the NFL as a whole. Get that. But that's not Howie's MO. So I just want to make sure I clearly, if Eagles make a trade of any kind, it's going to be a safety, it's going to be a linebacker, it's going to be a tight end. I see more Zach Ertz rumors. Everyone called me nuts for bringing Zach Ertz's name into the equation. They're linked to Zach Ertz already. The last position I would expect a trade to be made for was quarterback, but also running back. Actually, they always make weird random trades and pickups of third-string quarterbacks and fourth-string quarterbacks. They are a quarterback factory. What can I say? If I had to put my money on the running back situation, I think Rashad Penny is the first guy cut. They're going to give him a chance to latch on somewhere. He's a veteran. They're going to give him a chance to latch on somewhere where he gets actual playing time. Here in Philly, even if he stays, he's going to be the third or fourth option. And he's going to be on the field for 5-6 snaps a game. He's not going to have that opportunity to really, earn that next contract. So I think Rashad Penny is the first guy to go. Don't be surprised if Boston Scott. I mean, it was hit or miss whether they were going to bring Boston Scott back. And I know he's a huge fan favorite because he's a giant killer. But don't be surprised. Yeah, it is a hot take. It's a bold take. Look, Boston Scott's is an eagle killer, a giant killer. But he doesn't do anything the other 15 games a year. He's non-existent on the field the other games. So we'll see. I think it's interesting. You brought up Tyree Jackson, which is the tight end situation. Let me see here. Where's my tight end poll? All right, here's another one. It was the one that got the least amount of votes. Who was going to be tight end 2 and 3 for the Eagles entering the season? I did not put Tyree Jackson on this poll. I put option 1, Jack Stoll and Dan Arnold. Poll question answer number 2, Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. Option 3, Dan Arnold and Grant Calcaterra. Option 4, other. It got 0.6% of the votes to other. So obviously nobody thinks we're bringing in another tight end like I do. I still think we bring in another tight end. I think it's Jack Stoll and somebody else, and they try to get Calcaterra onto the practice squad. That's what I think. Okay? Jack Stoll and Dan Arnold as your 2-3 got 17% of the vote. Jack Stoll and Grant Calcaterra, last year's 2 and 3, got 72% of the votes, and Dan Arnold and Grant Calcaterra got 10% of the vote. So obviously people think our tight end situation is going to stay exactly the same going into camp next year. I don't know how many times I could say this. Dan Arnold's not the number 2. Dan Arnold will be the number 3, or he'll be cut. That's my opinion. Now, I guess I could Google search Spot Track and bring up what Dan Arnold's contract was, how much of it's guaranteed, and maybe that could change my opinion a little bit. Pro Football Reference. Nope, I got to add the word contract to get this up here, to get the right page up here. Spot Track. There we go. Dan Arnold signed a 1-year, $1 million deal. If they cut him, it's only a $50,000 dead cap hit. The Eagles will get a $50,000 dead cap. We paid a $50 million dead cap when we got rid of Carson Wentz. Dan Arnold is definitely now even more likely to be the short man on the totem pole here. But Greg Calcaterra didn't do much in his rookie year. He was, a 7th-round draft pick? He had he had one big catch for like 40-some yards. Yeah, but we're not a lesser team. We're a team looking to win a Super Bowl, return to the Super Bowl. You've got one of the best tight ends in football in Dallas Goedert. Problem is, he's never healthy. Missed 5 games 2 of the last 3 years. 12 over the last 3 years combined. You need guys that can really step into that void. I hate our tight ends after Goddard. I don't get, Ryan, I appreciate you checking in, my man, but I don't get the Tyree Jackson love. He does get hurt a lot, but he had like one good game like 2.5 years ago when he was first transitioning into tight end. Wasn't he at a different position at first? I don't even remember. It's been so long since he came to the Eagles, and he's just been hurt his entire career. Like, I don't understand why so many Eagles fans still have a little bit of hope on Tyree Jackson. Like, I would literally prefer bringing Zach Ertz back. I know he's borderline washed up at this point, but he's an Eagle legend, one of the best. He'll take that back seat to Dallas Goedert. I would almost prefer Zach Ertz as my number 3 tight end if he's willing to take that role. Goddard is still your 1. Stoll is still your blocking tight end. And then the 4 or 5 games that Dallas Goedert gets hurt, you've got Zach Ertz healthy and fresh to step in. Normally your 3rd tight end plays a little special teams. You don't have to do that to Zach Ertz. But, man, like our tight ends, I've been preaching the weakness of our tight ends for months now. That I needed an upgrade. And Dan Arnold was our upgrade. I don't buy the Dan Arnold upgrade. I don't think it's enough. I don't. Yeah, Tyree Jackson is hurt all the time. Was he a quarterback, Tyree Jackson? I know he was something else. I know he was another position. I just don't know what it was. I saw him in an open practice at the NovaCare. He was a freak athlete. There are a lot of freak athletes. Jeremy Bloom was a freak athlete. There are a lot of freak athletes that have come to Philadelphia. Fast guys, we've had Olympians on this team. It's true. It's true. But it doesn't make them a good football player. You know what I mean? So, yes, Peanut, I know. Tight end, Zach Ertz, he's at the end. But I'm looking at that 3rd spot. I'm not trying to upgrade Dallas Goedert. I'm trying to upgrade Stoll or Calcaterra. The guys are going to fill in when Goddard gets hurt, not if, when. I think it's a very likely possibility. You might not even have to trade for him. There could be a point here in the next 3 to 4 weeks that he just gets cut or given his release because he wants out. Look, Arizona is going to be a dumpster fire this year. Complete and total dumpster fire. Which, on a side note, can I just make a joke here and really crush some random person? He used to be a quarterback, Tyree Jackson. Yeah, that's cool. But I don't buy it. I don't buy him as a viable option. He's probably just going to be put on season-long IR again, knowing it. So I was paging through Twitter last night and thinking of the Cardinals and Zach Ertz. Made me rethink about this. And I forget who shared it out. I think it was John Jansen from 102.5 The Gambler. Shared it out. Some dude put together a Cliff Kingsbury hype video and how awesome and underrated of a coach he was. And all I can think of is imagine waking up. Like me, my alarm goes off at 7 a.m., turn the coffee pot on, take a shower, get dressed for work, come in here and do the show. This person got up, turned the coffee pot on, took a shower, got ready for work, and said, I'm going to sit down at my computer and put together, edit, put highlights in it, a clip of how great of a coach Cliff Kingsbury is. Dude, Arizona's been a dumpster fire because of Cliff Kingsbury. I said the day he got hired there, it was a bad idea. Sit in his 2nd year. I don't know what that person was thinking. Stick a fork in Tyree Jackson. I'm all in on Zach Ertz. We need a backup. Now, and I want to say, John, I am not all for Zach Ertz because of nostalgia. I'm just all in because I don't know who else is available out there that can fill that 3rd spot. And maybe Dan Arnold proves me wrong. Maybe it's Stahl and Arnold, which let me go back to this poll here real quick. Stahl and Arnold got 17% of the vote. Maybe Stahl and Arnold, maybe that's good enough and you get Calcaterra on the practice squad. Maybe that's good enough. I know Matt Chatter will say Dan Arnold's pretty good. Dan Stahl, Grant Arnold. I'm mixing all these names up here this morning. Murray, Spike Hood. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, just so you know, Matt Chatter. I think Kyler Murray is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I feel bad that he's injured. He's going to miss the whole year probably, but I'm not a fan. I think he's way too much of an ego for way too little results. He's got a 10 times bigger ego than Jalen Hurts, but puts in 10 times less of the work ethic than Jalen Hurts. He's below mid, in my opinion. I would not put Kyler Murray in my top 10 or 12. A lot of people would put him in their top 10. He might not even. I honestly, at this point, hot take, I would take Daniel Jones over Kyler Murray as my quarterback. At least he tries. He doesn't have as much talent, physical talent, but I would take Danny Jones over Kyler Murray at this point of his career. I'm not saying Jackson should be tight end too. I just hope he makes the squad. So that means you want Goddard, Stoll, and Jackson as your 3 tight ends. I don't know if that's good enough. Remember, you got to remember, Dallas Goedert misses games, and a lot of them. So you need somebody. You look at the 5 games Dallas Goedert missed last year. I mean, we still played pretty well. But that offense sputtered at times because you did not have Dallas Goedert opening up so much space like he does. Dallas Goedert, I said it on the over-under show on Edge of Philly Sports, under 899 yards this year because I can't trust him to be healthy. But Dallas Goedert has 1,000-yard receiving tight end capabilities if he stays healthy. He just doesn't. Now, all this is moot if Dallas Goedert plays 15 or 16 games. Hurts has good hands, but his yards after catch was not good. Absolutely, especially later in his career. I just think it's an upgrade over Calcaterra or an upgrade over Jack Stoll. That's all. Cardinals just stink. It's a bad organization, man. It just is. It's been for a long time. Now I want Stoll and Calcaterra out of here. Bring in someone better. Look, Jack Stoll's a good blocking tight end, but good blocking tight ends are a dime a dozen. If you want to keep Stoll as your blocking tight end, fine. But Jack Stoll, during those games when Goddard missed time, they tried to run him as tight end 1, and dude, he was like, it was no different than you put Zach Ertz out there, and Jack Stoll was slower than Zach Ertz even at this point. I'm not a Jack Stoll fan. Like, you could do worse. Don't get me wrong. You could do much worse than him for sure. But you could do a lot better for sure. Again, we spent more time talking tight ends than we did running backs and we did offensive line. I mean, what is wrong with people? We really care about that backup tight end spot a lot, don't we? I want to take a quick pause. I do want to bring up this topic again for all the people watching. What would you rather at this point get given a ticket to? Would you rather, I'm going to throw it out there for everybody, would you rather a ticket to go see the final round of the Masters, Augusta, Georgia, see who puts on the green jacket? Would you rather tickets to center court of the Wimbledon finals, men's finals, or would you rather front row seats to WrestleMania in Philly at Lincoln Financial Field? We'll see if Roman Reigns finally loses to Cody Rhodes or other. Would you like go watch final table of the World Series of Poker? Whatnot, whatever. And the Masters won this poll. 43% of the couple hundred votes. 19% Wimbledon, 24% WrestleMania, 13% other. We got a whole bunch of different answers in there. Man, I would love to go to the Masters, but after watching that finals in Wimbledon, man, I would have to want to do that. But also WrestleMania. I've never seen a WrestleMania in person. It's going to be in Philly. I mean, wrestling isn't what it used to be. It's not The Rock and Stone Cold or Hulkamania. There's no $1 Million Man. But it would be still pretty cool. It's really hard to choose between those 3 things, for sure. We have good depth for O-line and running back. We have no depth at tight end. Absolutely. I almost feel like there's no training camp battle at tight end because the tight end room is not complete. But I guarantee if I put a poll out there of what position needs to upgrade at most, tight end would be one of the last things mentioned or not mentioned at all. Kyle, you'd want to go to the Masters. Me and you, the Masters. I actually looked up like 10 years ago just for shits and giggles. I can't afford this kind of stuff. But I looked up, you can rent like this condo that sleeps like 8 people right there in Augusta. You get a private chef and bartender in your condo for breakfast and dinner and post-dinner drinks. And you get ground passes for 4 days. And for like 8 people, it was like $20,000. But you get 4 days at the Masters, you get a private chef, bartender, food, whatever. It's all inclusive. I was like, dude, I wish I could hit the Powerball because, man, I'd be taking 7 of my closest friends, well, 6 of my closest friends and my wife, because she would actually want to do it too. And I'd be doing a Masters all-inclusive without a shadow of a doubt, Kyle. And maybe you're earning your way into that group, Kyle. You are. You are earning that. The only competition for Eagles, Panthers, Lions, and Vikings, Viking being best in week 2 last year. I don't. That's way too much of a run-on sentence right there. Masters hands down, John. I like it. I don't know, something about Wimbledon, though. Maybe it's because I played tennis. Maybe because I'm such a huge – I grew up with Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras. I was a huge Roger Federer fan. Something about being center court there at the Wimbledon finals, man. It's most times a 4-hour event, but, man, it would be really tough to pass that up. We have no clue who the competition is until the season starts. Yeah. WrestleMania with Phil. What could be better? Everybody's got a price. See, you give me tickets to the Olympic events. See, now, Cam, I was at the Olympic Village and I was in Athens for the 2004 Olympics. I was working on cruise ships at the time, but I was in Athens and I did walk through the Olympic Village. I had the opportunity that day to go see like a badminton event. I would love to go see an Olympics event, but I don't think I would pay for it. Like that day, it was like some of the Olympic events actually start a couple days before the flame is lit and all. Like it actually starts. It's more than 2 weeks. The Olympics, like the preliminary events and stuff. And it was a preliminary event. I was walking through Olympic Village. It was like $200 some to go see a badminton, event. I was like, dude, I was 23. I'm like, can I really splurge a couple $100 to watch badminton? And I actually regret not doing it. But on the flip side, I don't know. I would only do the Olympics if it was free for sure. Yeah, exactly. 20K. You got 20K lying around? Come on now. Fans love household names. I'm telling you, George, my Zach Ertz desire is not because of the name value, not because of nostalgia, reasons. It's because he's the only tight end I can think of that might be available that would provide what we need. Someone that can run a route over the middle of the field to open it up for our wide receivers 4 games a year when Dallas Goedert gets hurt. That is the only reason. I mean, Dan Arnold maybe could do that too. I got to see and can't. But I need somebody that can fill in better for Dallas Goedert. That's the only reason why I'm bringing that up. Wow, 20,000. That's a lot of pizzas, yeah. But if you got 8 guys, split that up. What's that? It's less than $3,000. I mean, that's not bad. If you think about it, 20 grand divided by, and this was like 10 years ago. So I bet you that number's like 30 grand now. But wouldn't you pony up $4 grand for 5 days of all-inclusive Masters coverage? I would in a heartbeat if I had 5 grand laying around. What you do? I did work on a cruise ship for. I did 3 6-month contracts on a cruise ship. Hosting karaoke, teaching line dancing, name that tune trivia, all different kind of entertainment stuff. Yes, I did. That actually is what gave me the gift again. I was the shyest person in the world. My friend's like, the only way you're going to break out is if you push yourself. So I quit my job working at a pizza shop, and I went and worked on a cruise ship. I was going to do it for 6 months. Turned into 18 months. Had a blast doing it. Traveled the world. Been to 50 different countries around this world. So I loved it. I was raised 30 minutes walk from the Athens Olympic Village. It was intense, man, George. And being in that area, I mean, Athens is one of the most densely populated cities. And then you drop the Olympics into it. Oh my God. Like the 5-minute cab ride from like the cruise ship to like the middle of town was like 3 hours because of the traffic. And it was about 2 weeks before, a week and a half before the official start. The first time I was there, man, crowds galore. Ertz, I think, still has something left in the tank. Calcaterra has the same skill set as Ertz. He just needs to stay healthy, too. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is give the kid a chance. But he had the chance last year. What were I'm going to look up Grant Calcaterra's numbers real quick. And mind you, remember, he missed Grant Calcaterra. Zach Ertz missed 5 games last year. So that was 5 games that Grant Calcaterra could have played. Man, my computer finding stats today is not working. I'm not typing names right. I'm not Google searching the right things. I'm failing today. He only missed 2 games last year, Grant Calcaterra, just so you know, George. He started 2 games. And he was able to get 9 targets in those 15 games, 5 catches for 81 yards. One of them was for 40 yards. So he had 4 catches for 41 yards and 1 catch for 40. And he missed Dallas Goedert, that is, 5 games. And you were only able to get 9 catches out of the guy? Got to do better than that. Or 5 catches, 9 targets. 5 catches. It wasn't 9 catches. It's 5 catches on 9 targets. So that does not give me any confidence in Grant Calcaterra. That is awesome. It was fun. It was an exciting adventure for me. It was year 1 for him. Yeah, it was. No, look, I'm not writing him off, George. Not at all. Think he practice squad, maybe. We're trying to win a Super Bowl here. We're trying to get back to that number 1 seed in the NFC. Taking a chance on Grant Calcaterra, maybe developing, or going out and finding. If you don't want Zach Ertz, that's fine. Take Zach Ertz's name off the table. Go out and find a veteran that has proven success. I'm going to take the veteran this year if you could sneak Grant Calcaterra to the practice squad. We are not talking Sixers today. A lot happened the last couple of days. Yeah, look, my mouse just stopped working. There we go. It's stuck for a second. We're not judging. Well, we are judging. Hold on. No, we are judging Grant Calcaterra after year 1. He had an opportunity. He didn't grab it. You're telling me, George, you're confident that when Dallas Goedert goes down for an extended period of time, you're okay with Grant Calcaterra. At this moment, entering camp. Now, camp could change my opinion. What we see in the preseason could change my opinion. If he makes a team, he could change my opinion. But right now, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 weeks. Right now, I'm just going off of what I have, which is past knowledge. And the past knowledge is 1 year of below average performance. No, we are trying to win the NFCs. No, we're trying to win the NFC again. We're trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Step 1 is winning the East. But when you win the East, you're probably winning the NFC as well. You need to be better at all positions. Look, I think we're trying to win the NFC. The goal is to get back to the Super Bowl. You know, the NFC East is part of that for sure. They are trying to. Then we are trying. You're just You're putting the ultimate goal into steps. I'm just looking at the ultimate goal. That's what I'm trying. I am confident that the team has enough weapons on offense to survive a Goddard injury. We did survive it last year. But there were moments where the offense sputtered when Dallas Goedert was down. Wouldn't it be better to not have it sputter? Look, I didn't expect the tight end to become this long of a conversation. I think we spent a good 15 minutes on the tight end. I don't think spending money on washed-up guys is a great path to the Super Bowl either. A good starter with young talent behind him. I don't think the plan is to win a Super Bowl and then suck. It's to contend for, and I see your second point, multiple years. I got it, and I get that. And it's true. It's damn true. You don't want to win, but you still want to win. You just as much as you're planning for now, next year, and the next 5 years, you do have to capitalize on the win now moment. And there is a win now movement. So any weakness on this team, and look, you're not spending big money to bring in a Zach Ertz type. So we'll say it that way so you don't think I'm only stuck on Zach Ertz. A win now type. You know, you want to win now. It's going to cost you pennies. Just think about it. Dan Arnold's contract is $1 million. $50,000 dead cap if you cut him. Okay? You're going to get something similar. And look, and I'm saying this, Dan Arnold might be the guy that I'm talking about. I just don't know enough about him. I just know his box scores and his stats. He doesn't impress. But I do know that Grant Calcaterra is not necessarily the best third option when Jack Stoll is your second option. Because Jack Stoll can't catch the ball either very much. He doesn't stretch the field much either. It would be better to give homegrown talent more than 1 year. And I'm not saying just cut the guy. And look, maybe I'm wrong on Grant Calcaterra. I've been wrong before, George. You know that. But I still think that position is being undervalued, the importance to upgrade that slot right now. I thought Grant Calcaterra was going to go on the practice squad last year, and he didn't. Tyree Jackson, I don't know. Ryan was already talking in the comments about Tyree Jackson. I don't know. And I said it before, like, I don't buy the Tyree Jackson hype. The guy came in here like it feels like 100 years ago from Buffalo. I learned just now he was a quarterback before, and he had one good game or one good catch, and he's been hyped up ever since, but had been hurt ever since. So I don't understand why 2.5 years now that Tyree Jackson's been in Philly and he still hasn't seen the field much. Like, I don't get it. He's probably already on IR for the rest of the year. I don't know. It feels like he's always on IR. It's the Eagles and the 49ers for the NFC. There is, without a shadow of a doubt, that those two are the teams right now, the favorites. But there are a couple teams that intrigue me this year in the NFC. John, I think the Rams are going to be better. They're not going to be, a pile of poo-poo this year. The Detroit Lions are going to be better this year. They're not going to be title contenders, but they're going to win a lot more games. The Minnesota Vikings are going to win a few games this year. With Green Bay taking a step back, Minnesota's going to be better. Dallas is still a very good team. There are teams that if things don't go the right way for the Eagles, that could surpass the Eagles. Stats are deceiving. You will pleasantly be surprised with Dan Arnold. Matt Chatter, you've been pumping the Dan Arnold train since the day he was signed in Philly on this show. And I hope Matt Chatter, you've only known me for a couple months on this show. George has known me for 3 years. George will vouch, Matt Chatter, if I'm wrong on Dan Arnold, Grant Calcaterra, anybody. I'm the first person that you will see talk sports that will admit his mistakes. And if I'm wrong on Dan Arnold or Grant Calcaterra, I will gladly admit it because it means that something good happened. No, we're not saying carrying 4 tight ends. Somebody's got to go. The whole point was the poll question, who are going to be the 2 tight ends exiting camp at this moment? Stoll and Calcaterra, Arnold and Calcaterra, Stoll and Arnold, or other. I would have voted for other because I think they need to upgrade it. But it's probably going to be Stoll and Calcaterra again. That's probably the way it's going to go. We'll see. They got to be holding on to him. They're holding on to Tyree Jackson for a reason. Look, I would be pleasantly surprised if he stayed healthy. I really would. It would be exciting if he stayed healthy. And we just saw, wasn't it like a big touchdown catch? Then he had like a big jumping catch. Maybe it was a big first down. I don't know. I just vaguely remember one big Tyree Jackson catch and then nothing in the last 2 years. But 49ers going nowhere. Vikings, Lions, Panthers. I am not buying the Panthers hype train just yet. They will be better, but I'm not buying that they can contend for much of anything. They're still an 8-win team max at this point. Dan is okay, but we can do better with a veteran who maybe gets cut. Exactly. Like, we're talking now. 3 weeks from now, so much can change. Dallas is a contender, in my opinion. They are. It's not a popular opinion coming from a Philadelphia Eagles fan or podcaster or YouTuber, but you know what? I can admit it. Dallas is a good team. Dak Prescott is better. Dak Prescott tweeted out 2 days ago, I will not have 10 interceptions this year. And I said, yeah, because you're going to throw more or you're not going to have 10 wins either. But no, all joking aside, Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback. He's not elite, but he's very good. They upgraded their wide receivers by adding Brandon Cooks. They still got Micah Parsons. They got rid of Fat Boy Zeke Elliott. Like, Dallas is a good team. They still got a good offensive line when healthy. Not sure why he would surprise. He's a journeyman. If he was that great, he would not be a journeyman. I think you're talking about Dan Arnold there. Some players are designated special teamers. And one big play and a good training camp where Roseman was raving about. Yeah, he's been and see, here's the thing, though, and we've changed our tune over the last few years from bashing Howie to complimenting Howie. Howie still's got one thing he's got to prove to me. That he's willing to learn when to move on from players before it's, 2 years. I mean, it's time. 2 years of him doing nothing. Time to move on, possibly. Let's stop worrying about Kayvon Wallace and Davian Taylor. Let's find somebody better. They kept Mailata for a reason as well. But Mailata, though, George, was a different situation. Like, Mailata is a special situation. Tyree Jackson never played tight end. but he was an NFL player, and he was a football player his whole life. Blah, blah, blah. Jordan Mailata didn't even watch a single football game till after he got drafted. Well, no, he went to one of those football camps and maybe learned a little bit of football there, like the weeks before the draft. Like, that's it. Jordan Mailata, before that draft, had never played a football game in his life. You saw raw talent there, and you're willing to take a chance. Tyree Jackson's a little different at this point. He's been injured his entire career, learning a new position, hasn't done anything in a couple of years. There's a complete and total difference there between Mailata and Jackson, in my opinion. I'll disagree there. Dallas is an excellent roster. I agree with you, George. I fear Dallas almost as much as San Francisco. And maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll say that I fear Dallas more than San Francisco, honestly. We'll see. I want to see what the roster looks like. I haven't dove deep. I haven't had a Dallas Cowboys podcaster on yet to give me the hype up there. There is a chance that when I do my preseason record predictions, Dallas has a better record than San Francisco in my predictions. I got to do a deeper dive there. The Eagles are an entire different league. They will walk in this. Walk is a stretch. I want to pump the brakes on the expectations. It's very hard to get to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. It is. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And even that, it's hard. Hate Dallas, and Dak will throw 12 to 16 picks. Look, I hate Dallas too. But at least I set realistic expectations where if they win 10 or 12 games, it doesn't shock me. Because they are a very good team. I hate them. I want them to lose 12 games. I want Dak to throw 16 picks. But realistically, it's not going to happen. Jerry Jones is not going to let that happen. I also think McCarthy is an awful head coach. I don't think he's that good. I think he's extremely overrated there. How he needs to know when to move on from players, bring Ertz back. Look, I said it before. It's not because of Zach Ertz being in Philly. It's because I know he's a veteran tight end that has been rumored to be on the move. Give me another veteran tight end, and I'll insert that person's name in place of Zach Ertz. I said it 3 times now. It's not because Zach Ertz was an Eagle that I'm suggesting him. It's because he's a former Pro Bowl tight end that's at the end of his career that could fill a role as a backup in case of an injury. And he's had success in the NFL. That is the reason. He moved on from kid from TCU. Not quick enough. How can the name escape you of the kid from TCU? I'm not even going to say it. Like, you should not forget the kid from TCU's name. I mean, we've bashed him. People bashed him too hard. I mean, the bully and the trolling of him on social media got out of control. Watching Eagles games last year, it's that time of year when I watch Hurts, I thought this is ridiculous. Pinpoint accurate. Damn straight. Well, Davian Taylor is a similar case to Mailata. He played almost no football until college. But Jordan Mailata didn't even play football in college. Jordan Mailata didn't go to college. He was a professional rugby player. Completely different sport. Still a lot of pushing around, which is what run blocking is. And that's why he's such a good run blocker. But Davian Taylor is different, but still not the same. There is no difference, Mailata, Tyree. The point is trust Howie and the coaches. But it's okay to question. It's okay to bring up the thought process. Maybe, they're human. They can make mistakes. And there is a difference between Mailata and Tyree. There's a complete and total difference here. I'm going to strongly disagree with you on this one, George. It won't be the first time, won't be the last time, but I'm going to disagree with you. There's a huge difference there. And Tyree Jackson, if he had hype and hope, then he had to show it. He's been injured now for 2 years straight. You're just wasting a spot in camp on a guy that can't stay healthy. Let him go somewhere else, and if he breaks out, great. Round of applause for him. But he doesn't have to be wasting one of my camp spots right now. He just doesn't. I will short 49ers. Look, the 49ers are a great team. Dude, I was trying not to bring his name up. I wanted to see if you could figure it out. But there you go. You probably had to use Uncle Google to figure out his name. That name will be burned into my memories forever, but for the wrong reasons. Because it could have been Justin Jefferson. But just think about it this way. I'm going to get sidetracked here for a second because you brought up Jalen Reagor. And everybody always says, what if we got Justin Jefferson instead of Jalen Reagor? Or what if we drafted DK Metcalf instead of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? Well, if you do those, the whole entire history of the Eagles probably changes. You definitely don't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as your wide receiver duo right now. which is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver or one of the best wide receiver duos in football. Maybe Carson Wentz doesn't bomb as much and you don't get Jalen Hurts. Maybe we don't get to the Super Bowl. Like, so much changes. You know, that mistake led to one of that mistake amongst other mistakes led to the current run that we're about to embark on after last year. Actually, starting back in 2021, because 2021 was a pleasant surprise. So this journey we're on with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, part of the reason, it might be only 2 or 3%, but part of the reason we're on this journey is because Howie Roseman screwed that Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor draft up. I mean, it's clear as day. Clear, very disappointing last year. 2 premier games on Monday night: Bills versus Titans and Eagles versus Vikings at the same time. I was in Mexico for week 2, and I'll be in Mexico this year for week 2. And watching at a bar somewhere in Mexico, knocking down cocktails in an all-inclusive. It'll be fun. Here we go. No, I'm not debating the right pick. I'm just saying sometimes mistakes can lead to something positive. And that's all I'm trying to say. Like, the things change. Look, you know, I kept saying JJ was going to figure it out. You know, I even wrote an article. I don't write articles. I wrote an article for a website saying JJ was going to make the team a year or 2 ago. And he did. It's, all right, fam, got to go. Yo, William, thank you for checking in. Make sure you like. Here every day. Be back tomorrow. I had another Eagles conversation, starter point tomorrow, and we'll go from there. And we're at 9:16. We're over an hour. Got about 15 minutes left. We got 8 likes on YouTube, 4 on Facebook. Pound that like button. Pound that share button. Greatly appreciate it, guys. We could not develop wide receivers back then. We probably would have messed up JJ. Maybe. I think Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf were different. They're just special. I think they would have developed anywhere. And at the time, at least with DK Metcalf, what year was Justin Jefferson? Was that 2020? I'm trying to think of the year because Carson Wentz was it the year Carson Wentz was already shot? So who knows? But I think DK Metcalf, Carson Wentz was still somewhat of a viable quarterback that he would have been okay. DK Metcalf, the process to recruit Reagor was fine, just did not work out. Yeah, I guess on paper there were some reasons. I understood some of Howie's reasoning. The little college football I watch is the big schools. Justin Jefferson being an LSU kid, LSU, right? I watch the only college football I really watch when I watch it, LSU, Alabama, Georgia Bulldog. I watched some of the big games and the big matchups, and Justin Jefferson just stood out as an elite NFL type target that he would have been. So that was that. All right, I got to bring up some other camp battles here. I had more polls on my page here. What didn't we get into? This one's shocking to me. Almost 300 votes on this one. Question 5 was, who will be the final corner C cornerback cut from the Eagles roster week 1? And I don't think the conversation is important, but the reasoning behind the results was kind of shocking. I put Josh Joby, Greedy Williams, Eli Ricks, and Kelly Ringo on this thing. And the fact that Kelly Ringo got 11%, almost 30 people voted that they think Kelly Ringo is going to get cut from the Eagles. Maybe it was because I ran this 5 days ago and Kelly Ringo still hadn't signed with the Eagles. But this is another one of those scenarios where I think Greedy Williams is the guy that's cut. He's on one of those deals like Rashad Penny, where it's easy to get out from. And, any hate tweets for the XFL and the USFL? I'm not going to hate you for doing it. If you want to spend your time watching I'd rather watch replays of NFL games than watch the USFL and XFL. It's just not good. Has there ever been a story so big you pop on for like 10 minutes before? Yeah. Whenever there's breaking news, period, and I'm free at the pizza shop, I've got a separate laptop set up there with a simple mic setup like this, and I've done some pop-up shows before, but it's got to be breaking news, and I got to be not busy and fully staffed when it happens. I broke live the news when Nick Sirianni was hired as head coach. Oh, have I had any hate tweets? I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure. I get hate tweets every day. None that stood out yesterday. Haven't seen Rigo. Yeah, cannot possibly predict this. Yeah, but so you can predict certain things. You can predict that Greedy Williams' contract is easy to get out from if they really like Ricks. And we talk about the lack of developing in certain positions on this team in the past, now, whenever. They have struggled to develop cornerbacks. Greedy Williams, although injured often, is a known commodity. Ricks is not. Kelly Ringo had some real big hype coming out in the draft. People say we got him early. Josh Joby, big part of special teams. So if you think you can get Eli Ricks on the practice squad, then you go that route. If you don't think Ricks makes it to the practice squad, then you have the option to cut Greedy Williams pretty cheaply. And Eli Ricks won this poll. Almost 47.3% of the votes went to Eli Ricks being the final cut guy. And, Joby, because of his special teams, probably won't be that guy. Ringo, because we drafted him, and how he's not going to give up on a draft pick that quickly. Williams staying on the team is dependent on how the rookies perform in preseasons and injuries. I don't even know, if it's exactly just how they perform. I think it's more how they perform in practice even than preseason. If Ricks performs well and they don't think he makes it to the practice squad, I think that's really the final decision there. But the fact that 11% of the people voted Kellen Ringo in this situation really shocked me on that one. Ask you 4 weeks. We're going to revisit a lot of these in 3 to 4 weeks because we're going to be talking football almost every single day for the rest of the year till the Super Bowl. There won't be a day that goes by now from here to the Super Bowl that football will not be part of the conversation. Don't know much about Greedy Williams. Well, I do know he's injured often, and I think Ringo will make the team. He is fast and smart. Well, he definitely will make the team, especially now that he signed his contract. Ricks is an Alabama product, needs a long, hard look, absolutely. But there are question marks on him, and I'm hoping for depth purposes that those question marks get him to the practice squad. He needs time to develop. We've struggled developing cornerbacks. Zach McPherson has not developed well. 2 years ago, we brought in 7 extra cornerbacks, and none of them developed. So, I got to hope that this new defensive team does a better job at developing cornerbacks. And there was one other poll question, and I thought this one I think got the most votes. No, it didn't get the most votes. The most votes on my poll went to actually the cornerback position at 200. Out of 800 votes, 280 of them were on the cornerback position. I think there's a safety discussion to be had too. So question 1 on the poll was, what will be the starting safety duo week 1? Terrell Edmonds, free agent signing from Pittsburgh, and Reed Blankenship? Will be Terrell Edmonds, rookie Sidney Brown? Will it be rookie Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship? Or other, which i.e. bringing in somebody from the out. McPherson is a slot. We are judging him. That's fair. But hold on. Didn't Avonte Maddox miss a bunch of time last year? Was McPherson filling in for him in the slot? I don't think he was. He couldn't get on the field and stay on the field and be effective the 4 plays a game when Darius Slay goes down or all the games that Avonte Maddox missed over the last couple of years. Because Maddox misses time every year as well. So I'm not writing McPherson off yet. I'm just questioning who has been the corner. I don't know if we have the same cornerback coach or defensive backs coach as we did under Gannon. If it's changed, I hope it has. This person does something different in developing these guys. McPherson, I had a lot of hype for him and hope for him. I liked his college footage after we drafted him and I watched it. But I haven't seen anything yet from him. So the safety position, I think right now, as it stands on paper, entering camp in 6 days, I think Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship are your starting safeties. I think Sidney Brown, there's a lot of people that are hyping Sidney Brown. And right now the votes, so out of the 200-some votes, 67% voted Edmonds and Blankenship. 11% Edmonds and Brown, and 18% Brown and Blankenship. So 29% of the people that voted think Sidney Brown wins a job. I am surprised only 3% voted other. That means only 3% of the other people that voted think the Eagles bring in. Again, not saying I want this guy or not. It's just the most popular name on the market right now is Budda Baker. We brought in a stud safety last year on August 20th in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Do we do it again? I don't know. I think there's a chance we had depth. Maybe not a big name. What is up, Eric? How you doing? Almost missed. Dude, that's the great thing. You can watch it on replay. What's it YouTube stink? Do you not get that? You got to click that little bell. It's a notification thing. Tells you. It should pop up on your phone when we go live. None of the above. I think first defensive snap of the season, we roll out 3 safeties. All 3 are in. Maybe. So that'd be 3 safeties and 3 cornerbacks on the field at the same time. So only 5 front. Yeah, maybe 4 down linemen and whatever. Maybe. I think a lot of people are hyping Sidney Brown. And I've seen some of the footage and some of the highlight tapes and reels that have been put out there. A lot of hype. A lot of people like Terrell Edmonds. Terrell Edmonds was an okay safety. I think people are overvaluing him. And Reed Blankenship is another guy. People love Reed Blankenship. He's good. He's young, inexperienced. He's still got to develop more, though. Do I think Howie will get Budda Baker? If you asked me this question 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, I would have put it at 80, 90% likelihood that he's going to try to get Budda Baker. Now, as I read more from the OTAs, from reporters watching it, the Eagles are confident in Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, and Terrell Edmonds. Now, I think they get some. If you say any safety, I would say 90% likelihood, John, that Howie Roseman gets another safety in here as cuts start happening, as teams try to trade some of their veteran players. There will be. But, if they really see enough from Brown and Edmonds and Blankenship in camp, they might not feel the need to spend what it's going to take to get Budda Baker. I forget now. It's been a while since I've looked up Budda Baker, but he's got a big cap hit this year. So you would have to renegotiate him, extend him to lessen the cap hit. I was high on the idea, and now I'm like, well, if everybody's so high on Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown, maybe it's not necessary. What is up? Let's see. Just be different. I voted other. Yeah, because I get that. And look, you love being different, George. You are a different character, and I'm looking forward to our time here on the show whenever that day comes in the near future. But I still think it's going to be Reed Blankenship and Terrell Edmonds week 1. But I don't think it's good enough. I think something else has to change there. Second snap will be Edmonds and Blankenship. Yeah, I kind of feel like, and this is kind of something I've been thinking of as I've been prepping for this show specifically. I was kind of thinking about, like, who starts a game really doesn't matter. Your starters are the guys that play the most snaps. And I kind of feel, because if the offense comes out with 4 wide receivers on the first play of the game, the defense has obviously got to have a certain number of defensive backs. So, like, who starts, I think, is an overrated thing there. I want the other guy over. Guy starts with a, I don't even know what that means. I butchered that, but I want him. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but you did butcher it. Here we go. Name recognition. Look, Budda Baker is a name recognition. There ain't no doubt about it. But again, just like Zach Ertz, look, everybody's just going to the Cardinals because the Cardinals are blowing it up down there this year. They're refreshing down there. You can get a lot. They got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. They're looking to move on from a lot of players in Arizona. That's why. It's not the name recognition. It's known commodities that are available. The African name guy over Baker. He's younger. Which guy are we talking about here? I'm not even sure. Well, he's a defensive end, Ngakoue. And I don't know if I really want him. I mean, we're so deep on the defensive line right now. I think it would be a surplus. You can never have too many, but I think it would be a surplus. And didn't we try to get him like 2 years ago and we failed then? So it might be 2 years too late. I hate when we get guys 2 years too late. We got Michael Young with the Phillies, from the Rangers, 2 years too late. We are fine at safety. Kayvon Wallace is still the 4th safety on this team. And while Kayvon Wallace finally showed some glimmers of hope, it's one of those moves that I'm kind of waiting for Howie. When is he just going to pull the trigger and move on there? No, you're good, Eric. Don't you worry. You're rushing. The show's almost over. We're already at 9:30. No super chat was dropped. So we have to end this show, and you're just trying to get all your comments in. I'm more worried about punter. Look, that's a great segue to end the show for tomorrow's conversation. Who are we most excited to learn about in training camp? And I've got a poll run, almost 300 votes on it already. And other got clicked a lot already because at least a half a dozen people mentioned punter in the comments section of that poll. Like, seriously, people are actually looking at punter. What's his name? Legatron or something like that? Howie will do something. It might not be the big name recognition guy like Buda Baker, but there's going to be somebody cut or that comes available for a 6-round pick trade that he will go. Yeah, somebody got to drop something. $5? I got like a big-ass catering order. The wife's already there working on it at the pizza shop. Yo, absolutely, Kyle. Huge game from Aaron Nola last night. Huge game. Fantastic job. Fantastic. Virtual don't mean jack. Virtual don't pay the bills. You're doing a show on punter? No, I am not doing a show on punter. But I will bring punters into the conversation because that's what the people comment. If you mention it, I bring it up. I don't think I missed. We got 150 comments on this show so far today. I might have skipped 2 or 3 of them. 1 or 2 of them were troll comments, and 1 or 2 of them were just mad chatter rambling on. I love you, mad chatter. But we got to wrap this up. We're at 1 hour and 16 minutes today. It's 9:31. Got to wrap it up. Got to work. It's funny, though. This is no longer at 8. I got to update the exit video. The exit video says live every morning at 8:30. I don't think I started at 8:30 in a month. It's 8:10, 8:15, 8:20 every day because an hour is just not enough for you guys. I got to keep extending it. And if I find a sponsor someday for this show, I might start at 8 every day. But we got to find a sponsor. One of those $500 super chats got to start rolling in. Look, got to wrap it up for the day. Thank you all. Make sure you like this video. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever. You share it out. You tell a friend. Look, this is the show. Every morning. The first daily YouTube show in Philadelphia sports. The best one, in my opinion. The only one where your opinions matter. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I am Phil Stiefel. Be back tomorrow. 8:15? Let's say 8:15 tomorrow, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. One final comment. Yeah, John, you have a great day. I greatly appreciate your support and you tuning in. I'll hit the billion tonight and then sponsor. Hey, I appreciate that. If you hit the billion tonight, Kyle, you better be booking the all-inclusive Masters trip and bringing me along. I'm just going to tell you that. Peace out, man, chatter. I love you. Love everybody. For everybody, have a great day. Oh, geez, my mouse. I think I need a new mouse. This $5 mouse is finally going down. Eric, peace out, my man. Catch the replay. Go back and check the rest of the replay. And don't be late tomorrow. Damn it. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm Phil Stiefel, trending in the AM. Tomorrow, guys.